We've seen some renderings of Jesus. He doesn't look not hot.
He was ripped. The man ate fish. He was on a pescatarian diet. And bread. And red wine. Yeah, like imagine being alive at that time and you're like, oh my God, Jesus. Did you hear about this guy?
Welcome back, everyone, to And Just Like Yap. I am Andy.
I'm Caroline.
These last two episodes, so much going on and so many crazy things. Whenever I'm watching a recent Ryan Murphy show, I feel like I'm being trolled. I feel like Ryan Murphy is like, ooh, they'll watch this. Let's just throw this in because these fuckers will watch it.
I know.
But let's get into it. Right off the bat, we are opening the episode with this very gruesome image. Detective Morrow has been let back in the office for some reason because even though every time she's there, everyone's like, you shouldn't be here.
Well, I was like, who let her in? Which of the, nameless employees let her in? Also, this was, so abrupt. I was like, how is this the tone that we're starting the episode with? I was so confused.
I know, but also, I'm glad we haven't forgotten about this murder because we have not addressed it for the last couple episodes.
Also, the juxtaposition of this photo on top of this, crazy marble.
So Detective Morrow is questioning Emerald and Liberty and is showing them very gruesome crime scene photos, probably to, I don't know, try and make one of them crack. And Detective Morrow is like, we thought it was just a suicide, but it turns out Mr. Walton was bludgeoned in the genitals just before he died. So Detective Morrow is like, that tells me that maybe this was a murder because someone hit him in the junk before he died. Which, I mean, this man abuses women, so the junk thing could have been earlier in the evening. So Detective Morrow's trying to figure out if this was indeed a murder instead of a suicide. And Emerald is like, excuse me, this was only one night. The thing that he did to me was only one night in this horrible man's life. So, what do you think he's doing every other night? Look for more victims. It wasn't me who killed this man, but it could absolutely be one of these other victims. By the way, please help these women. We're focusing on the wrong thing here. I know this guy was maybe murdered, but, he was also a serial abuser. So, maybe...
Right, you haven't listened to one true crime podcast or documentary where it's if there's one, there's gonna be five more. So just,
correct.
Widen your scope.
And then, as always, they keep giving us, little red herrings of, maybe it was Emerald, and now it's maybe it was Liberty, because once again, we're going back to the cell phone data. A bunch of texts and voicemails came in on Liberty's phone at once, indicating that maybe her phone was on airplane mode because she didn't want to be tracked. And then Liberty is like, maybe my phone was dead and I just plugged it in before I went to sleep. My phone dies a lot. I have an iPhone 11 XR from 2016, I want to say. So so I was just thinking about this and I was like, man, my cell phone data probably would look very suspicious because my phone's always doing weird shit because it should not be alive. If I take off the case, you can see the guts. The guy at the Verizon store who had to give me a new SIM card was like, this phone should not be working anymore.
And it's like, well, sorry, we're not out here buying new iPhones every year.
And then, of course, as always, Dina comes in and reminds everyone, why the fuck are you talking to this cop?
I thought immediately with this suit, I was like, oh, so costume design is like, oh, this is the Scarlet Letter outfit for Dina. She's guilty, is what this is telling me. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, 1000%. In this cherry red ensemble, an ascot / pussy bow. We've taken the pussy bow and we've created so many variations on a theme. For someone who specializes in divorce, she sure knows a lot about criminal law and says showing crime scene photos in an informal setting, that's a big no-no. Also, you've been here long enough to constitute detainment without cause. So Dina throws her out and says the next time you want to come in here, you better bring a pair of cuffs and an arrest warrant. And Detective Morrow is like, say less, I'll be back. And then Dina immediately is like, hey, want to just stop doing our jobs and get on our private jet and go to Fashion Week? Let's go. And they all just pick up and leave. I thought they were so busy. Their caseload is so overwhelming. They're just dumping this on all of the employees who never have any lines.
I know. Okay, if we're putting a wish list for characters for season 2, I need to see the accountant at GRG. Because, they have to be, saying to them, okay, why are we spending money on this private plane? Nobu catered 5 days a week. Suddenly you're going to Paris. for Fashion Week, where are we, like, where are the billing hours coming in?
Yeah, I also need to see some conversations between, like, the lower level employees that, like, we've seen them giving, like, weird glances around the office, but I'd like to hear the tea from their perspective. Then we're on the jet. I don't know, whenever I see, like, a private plane in movies, I'm like, there's no way they can actually have this much room on the inside. Like, are they on Air Force One? Like, there's a room for an entire, like, massage setup. Like,
I know.
It's just wild. Of course, Alora is like, God, it's been a record-breaking, ass-breaking month. Liberty is like, so Dina, while we have you here, we really want to change the name of the firm to Grant, Ronson, Green, and Standish and formalize bringing you on as a partner because we just can't handle our caseload. Let me remind you, you left your jobs to get on a private jet to go to a bunch of Fashion Week shows without any warning. So how I think it would clear your caseload a bit to stay at the office and keep working. I don't know.
And also, I'd like to remind you, it's been 8 episodes, and yet not a single case has gone to court.
No!
We have not been in court once.
Not once. We have not seen the inside of a courtroom. We haven't seen it. Well, they don't want to go because, I mean, like...
They can't blackmail.
You can't blackmail in a courtroom, and you can't get Nobu delivered to a courtroom. So they don't want to be there. Laura reveals, to help out, I asked Milan to come back. And they're like, what? And she was like, well, if we're not supporting women, like, she's pregnant and she got knocked up by my horrible ex. She says something like, you can't, like, blame the rabbit for being captured by the fox. And she says, and if we're not, like, helping her out in her time of need, like, we're not walking the walk as women who support women, which is fair. I do think it's, like, weird that Alora has, like, completely forgiven Milan so much, but Chase has been revealed to be so bad and so garbage that, like, I guess I understand that. So, of course, Dina, who's constantly bringing this up, is like, what about Carr if we're thinking about adding another partner to the firm? And Liberty is like, I would rather die than bring Carr on. Dina's like, well, I just thought all of you guys, all of my, like, birdies would be back in the nest with each other. I'm like, are there no other lawyers in Los Angeles? And then Emerald is like, what about Alberta? I'm like, oh, really? The one other lawyer we've seen? Like, there's nobody else. Then we arrive at the fashion show, which I guess everyone was required to wear red. And like we saw in Just Like That, and also if you watch Housewives, they spent the entire fashion show talking while in the front row. Also, Dina's got, like, some cunty ass hair going on. She took some styling wax and, like, made some little curls to frame her face. Is it like a
reference to Fatal Attraction? Her Fatal Attraction hair?
It might be. So, in the middle of this fashion show, she leans over to Liberty to be like, Carr's father killed himself and she found him. So we finally do have more of Carr's origin story of why she is the way she is, because we've been saying this whole time that we've been recapping, like, she is so evil and fucked up. Like, where is this coming from? Liberty is sympathetic. She's like, I didn't know that. And Liberty's like, okay, fine. I will give her a chance. She can interview, but she's going to have to compete just like everybody else for this position. And then I had to take this screenshot because Naomi Watts, I love you. Ryan Murphy needs to stop giving you words that are very difficult for you to say. Because she's like, high profile female lawyers. They're as common as avocado. Okay, so we head to Carr's extravagant home where she has, of course, you know, a personal movie theater in her living room that she uses to watch Meryl Streep films with her gay bestie. And they are watching Postcards from the Edge. And you specifically wanted me to take this screenshot because you wanted to discuss Postcards from the Edge. So, okay, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, so if you aren't familiar with this is a movie based off of, I think, the book about Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds and their relationship. Yes. And I was like, I think this was a very specific choice because what I have to imagine, if they are actually doing any sort of, like, metaphor in their usage of this, and is that I feel like Dina is Debbie Reynolds and then Carr is Carrie Fisher. Like, I think there was a point for them to be using this specific reference.
Very, very, very astute. I also just love that they're standing right next to the screen and reciting every single line.
I was like,
with
this is my
perfect
favorite
cadence.
Oh, this is why I love gay video night is my favorite thing. Is like when you're with like they're putting every like random like Tony clip, music video, drag race performance and just going off. Like I never have more fun than when that like YouTube video night is happening like that. And it's like the clips that we know all the words to.
And we all have full carte blanche to speak and sing along.
Yeah.
Whereas very different from, I don't know, heterosexual Pacific Rim viewing night. or the like, insert whatever movie you want.
Because we know they're watching Pacific Rim all the time.
Or just like, you know, instances where you're at a party where it's like we're all watching a movie and they're all talking the whole time over the movie. And I'm like, listen, I didn't want to watch Pacific Rim, but I'd like to know what happens.
I remember showing Breakfast at Tiffany's at like a sleepover when I was 11. And I remember I was like, oh my God, I hope everyone, like, because I really was like so obsessed with Audrey Hepburn.
How did that go? I'm like nervous for 11-year-old you. How did that go?
Not everyone was as into it as me. And I think maybe like a few years later they would have been. I was like so just like on an island with my taste for like divas of the 60s and 70s. I hadn't found my people yet.
Yeah. So they, you know, mute the movie because obviously they've already seen it 1,000 times and decide to kiki. So Sebastian is like, we're hot, we're successful, we should be dating. Like, why aren't either of us dating? And Carr is like, well, when's the last time you got any? And he says 2 days ago in the Equinox steam room. I had to take the screenshot because I don't know if you're aware, but there is like exposés happening on TikTok now about like all of the unsavory things that happen in the Equinox steam room. Apparently it is a hotbed of sexual misconduct. But then he's like, well, who was the last person you were attracted to? And Carr admits that she was attracted to Chase, and Sebastian is very surprised, and Carr's like, well, why? He's kind of like the type of the original guy I was attracted to when I was young, who was Jesus, literally Jesus, which I think is such a funny, like, astute character choice. Like, this woman is so fucked up. Of course, like, she had sexual feelings for Jesus. And also, like, let's be clear, we've seen some renderings of Jesus. He looks, he doesn't look not hot.
He was ripped. The man ate fish. He was on a pescatarian diet and bread and red wine. So
heart healthy.
Heart healthy. The body was ripped. I'm sorry, to be dragging across like that, you have to have like the upper body strength, the stamina. Yeah.
This is a hear me out take that I'm like, I've heard you, and yes.
Yeah, like imagine being alive at that time and you're like, oh my God, Jesus, did you hear about this guy?
And then Sebastian says, I double doggy style dare you. And Carr's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to have sex with Chase. Smash cut to Chase thinking that he's on a 3-camera sitcom and showing up once again at GRG. And Alora says what we've all been thinking, which is like, you can't just stop by here anytime you want. Also, aren't you supposed to be the quarterback on the Chargers? Like, please go do your job.
I know. Why isn't your coach calling you?
So Chase is like, won't leave Alora alone, and is like, remember when you came over and had sex with me? That was fun. I'd like to do it again. Like, let's give this another shot. Alora's like, I really just don't want to keep repeating the same cycle. So she's come to her senses and has decided that was a mistake that she's not going to make a third time. And Chase is like, but I love you. And then this is one of these moments where I'm like, Ryan Murphy, you are trolling the shit out of me. Because Chase's line as he's exiting is, I think some love just stays even when you ask it to leave. And I'm like, I can't, by the way that this is delivered and the music, this is like supposed to be affecting, but also like this character is an idiot and that is a stupid line.
I know. I was just like, how is he still not in rehab? How is he still not with a therapist? Like, what is happening here?
Again, the Chargers PR person should be coming and collecting him every time she is out of his sight. Carr goes and finds Chase at the gym where he's doing those weird little Doc Ock ropes.
Oh, yeah.
She reveals, like, hey, do you think we adequately celebrated our victory? Like, should we maybe hang out more? And Chase is like, I'm sorry, are you asking me out? And Carr, of course, is like, does inserting that big hard dick of yours into my lady hoo-ha constitute a date? This woman has, like, negative game, actually, which is actually kind of funny. Like,
I know.
She like has the foulest possible mouth, which doesn't necessarily constitute having no game, but like she's so awkward.
I know.
And Chase is like, I mean, I would be interested, but I'm a sex addict and I'm trying to like stop being a sex addict. I'm going to my Sex Addicts Anonymous meetings. Like, I'm really trying to give it a go. Carr is like, I don't care. What about we go back to my office for a little game of boss and secretary? And this man's horny and he decides, you know what? Why the fuck not? I don't need to finish pulling on heavy ropes. Well, let's just head to the office. And they start having sex, and
they play the Man-Eater needle drop from Nelly Furtado.
Yes.
Like, that's pumping going into this. I was like, when that started playing, I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen. I don't even need to see the scene. Just the opening beats of Man-Eater, I know what's about to happen.
Yes, and this was such a long
It was so long. It never ended. I was like, why won't this stop?
I know. I mean, there's another scene coming up that also I was like, why won't this stop? This show is like, this episode in particular was like verging on pornography. I'm not mad about it per se, but again, Ryan Murphy, the inconsistency of tone is giving me whiplash. Like, my neck hurts, my brain hurts.
Yeah.
Like, we just get some like sex.
Well, and also for as long as the scene is happening, this made me realize no one should ever be subjected to hearing anyone else's sexy talk, because it is the most embarrassing thing because the scene lasted what felt like, I don't know, the length of a Ken Burns miniseries. I was so embarrassed, like, hearing them do their sexy talk. I was like, I shouldn't, this feels too intimate. I don't want to listen to this.
I don't want to be here. I do not want to be here, Ken Burns.
Give us, God. 30 seconds and, like, out. This doesn't need to be 5 minutes long. This is not heated rivalry, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know. It's like you can feel exactly when you want it to end, and then it just keeps going like 3 times the length that it should. Yeah, this scene was crazy. They're doing role playing. Like you said, like, I don't want to hear this. This is like one of my main reasons why, as like a teenager watching Sex in the City, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna keep watching, but like, I don't know, I don't want to be here. Yeah, also, speaking of people who like did not consent to hearing this, poor Susan, who is just trying to have an office snack and has to be hearing all of this right outside her door.
Susan and Esperanza need to form a union.
Yes, they really, really do. They're still having sex, and they're still playing with a lot of, like, stupid puns and metaphors. I'll keep grinding and grinding until you're satisfied. They finally end, and then Chase immediately is like, I feel like shit. That's always the thing you want to hear right after you have sex with somebody. I feel like shit. And Carr, of course, is like, so you fell off the wagon and right into my pussy. Oh, my God. Sarah Paulson, are they paying you enough? Are they paying you enough?
So you fell off the wagon and into my pussy.
Right into my pussy. Also, this episode in particular, they have dressed her like Elphaba meets Darth Vader. And then Carr decides, this was surprising, a surprising choice. She decides to reveal one of her deep secrets to Chase, because he's talking about, you know, he feels like shit because he, like, you know, broke his streak of not having sex for, like, whatever, 4 days. And Carr's like, listen, I know something about compulsive behavior too. And she shows him her scars from cutting. This was a real, this surprised me. Did this surprise you?
Yeah, it surprised me. I was like, oh, interesting that she's choosing to be this vulnerable with Chase. Because then I was like, what is she actually attracted to Chase then, that she's showing this? I think before this, I was like, is this just a power tactic against Allura and the rest of the girls? Again, as we said before, the character motivation on this show is a moving target. It's scene to scene, moment to moment, unclear, because I feel like this is going to shift in a second. So it's, but it was a shockingly vulnerable moment, I think, and it only works because Sarah Paulson is such a great performer.
So she's then trying to indicate to Chase, like, you need to figure out why you have this sex addiction in the same way that, like, I had to figure out why I was cutting myself if you actually want to make any progress, which is a fair point. I still think it's probably worth it to go to his meetings. But yeah, I mean, she's pointing him somewhat in the right direction here. And then Chase is like, it's nice that you don't judge me. And I will say, like, again, this also surprised me. I was like, these two characters might actually make sense together romantically, because yeah, she doesn't judge him and he does feel very judged by Alora. That's one of the things that, like, he doesn't like about their relationship. Chase again is back at GRG. Who is letting him in the front door? Like, do we not have a no Chase allowed sign somewhere? And he is doing that thing that people do where they're like, well, I just came here to, like, do, like, he literally found this watch and was like, ooh, I'll go return this. That'll be a reason to go see Alora. And she's like, while you're here, how was your Sexual Addicts Anonymous meeting? And he was like, and she was like, well, what was the topic? And he was like, I don't know, like the usual topic. You know, the same topic as every time. And she's like, seriously, you couldn't keep it in your pants for 1 week? And he immediately is like, well, Carr said, because he's so fucking stupid. And she's like, wait a minute, Carr? And he didn't have to say I had sex with Carr, but then he, of course, is like, well, I did have sex with Carr, but it wasn't like a thing. Like, you know, this is going to piss her off more than anything, which maybe was the point. And this, of course, sends Alora into a rage. And I think this is, like, one of the angriest moments we have seen Kim portray. And I thought she did a nice job. I really, like, I'm very impressed with how her acting range is progressing. She's doing this while she's trying to make partner at my firm. Like, what the fuck? Susan is just trying to enjoy her chicken wing, a rib, something smothered in barbecue sauce. I love Susan. Susan's a great character. And Chase comes in this crazy fireman outfit that, like, the hat, he just looks so
I know. I was like, did he walk up to a firehouse and say, I will give you $5,000 for an actual LAFD fire outfit?
Probably. Well, also, again, lest we forget, this man is the quarterback of the Chargers. So theoretically, if he walked up to a firehouse, they'd be like, oh my God, you're Chase Monroe. Like, imagine if, like, I'm not saying he's as good as Tom Brady. I don't fucking care. Who cares? But, like, if Tom Brady walked up to, like, you know, a New England fire department, they'd probably be like, yeah, you can have a truck if you want.
You can go get a cat out of a tree. We don't care. I was gonna say also, why can't they call me crazy? Why can't they have sex at Carr's house? Or Chase's house.
Great question.
Why are we only having sex in the office and subjecting Susan to it?
Why does Susan always have to be subjected to this? She's just trying to have her lunch. And then we finally figure out why Sarah Paulson in the trailer was dressed in a nurse's outfit. And this is like high camp. She's like, thank God you're here, and she's in this insane outfit, and Chase immediately starts stripping. We get some, like, crazy innuendo. Whoever was responsible for writing all of these jokes and, like, sex puns was like, I want every single one of them in the final edit. Do not take any of them out. They are very important to me. They are my special sex puns. He says, it might be safer if I enter through the back door.
Okay, here's my crazy Chase logic. If I'm putting myself in his two brain cells, I think because he's gotten Milan pregnant, he now thinks the only way he can continue down his sex addict path is by going up the butt. God, could you then imagine that if he had Milan pregnant? I still think we have a Trojan horse in Alora getting pregnant from that time of them having sex. That's still my
Yes, I agree.
And I think, could you imagine if Carr had also been pregnant at the same time?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. You might be right. That is a solid theory. My other theory I was going to pitch was he's dressed like one of the village people, so maybe he's like... Streaming has made it so that we can see a lot of stuff on TV that we couldn't see on, you know, general cable, but, like, to what end? So they start going at it, and she says, what's your name, Mr. Fireman? And I laughed so hard because he immediately said Chase because he's so fucking stupid. No. And he says, they call me Jesus. So she has clued him in, and he is fully game to pretend to be Jesus the fireman.
God, that man is in the bubble. He is in the bubble, fully in the bubble.
Well, right now he's in the butt.
Yeah.
So we continue, oh my Christ, and then he says Alora's name instead of Carr's, which obviously immediately kills the vibe. And he tries to get out of it. Shit, I mean Carr, sorry, but it's over, it's done. And he's like, look, we had a fight earlier. It's like, buddy, shut up.
I know.
Stop talking. Do not explain your reasoning for saying the wrong name during sex. Just shut up. And Carr is trying to hide that she's hurt. She like crosses the room and turns her back, opens her closet, and she's like, it was just a fuck. It's no big deal. Whatever. The way she is with Chase is so different than the way she is with everyone else. Anybody else who crossed her this badly in a different context, she would chew them the fuck out. But with him, she's like very weirdly gentle. I don't know, like there's some weird going on. So the next thing we see is apparently LA's best stylist, who came recommended to Carr by Adele, which is the second time that Carr has mentioned that she has a personal connection to Adele, which I just think is so funny.
I know. I was trying to figure out, I was like, did she represent her in her divorce? Or did she, like, just did she, like, stalk her and get her number? I bet, like, Adele actually doesn't like Carr, and she somehow got tricked into giving her number, and she somehow keeps, like, messaging her.
She says that she wants what Alora has and be clickety-clackety about it, which I guess means fast. So we know what's coming because we saw this in trailers. She wants to be styled like Alora. And the next thing we see, Milan is back at GRG in this beautiful purple outfit. And she thinks that she's seeing Alora getting coffee from the lobby coffee bar. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be back. And then Carr turns around and makes this crazy face. I gotta say, the makeup is on point. Like, she really does look a lot like her. Like, it's pretty impressive.
I'm curious if they used, like, Kim's makeup artist, like, on her to, like, do the wig and everything. It's funny, this was one of the moments behind the scenes that they showed on the Kardashians on Hulu, and Chris was on set this day when this happened, I think.
Oh, really? That's really funny.
And it was just, like, they really, like, side by side. I've never seen, I don't know, Sarah Paulson, like, they definitely put, like, bronzer on her. Like,
yeah.
It's like Uncanny Valley a little bit.
It's kind of crazy. It's amazing what you can do with contouring, but I also think Sarah Paulson is like doing something with how she's positioning her facial features too.
Do you think she came home to Holland that night role-playing Kim?
Maybe. And Holland was like, sorry, who?
Who's on this little Ryan Murphy project you're doing now?
Who are you talking about? Carr then goes on to start insulting Milan because she's surprised that, like, Alora hired her back, and she said, you're pregnant with that baby because you're a social climbing cum dump, which is just an awful thing to say to somebody. And then Milan takes the high road and is like, listen, the world only needs one Alora Grant, but Carr is a badass bitch, and, like, I'm rooting for her, which is, like, a crazy thing to say to somebody who just called you a cum dump. Okay, so this next scene was so fun. These are the moments that redeem the show for me.
Well, because this is, like, when it leans into Dynasty. Like, this is that
correct.
moment of this, like, Alexis Carrington. It's very, like, I want them to be fighting in a fountain and, like, taking each other down and slapping each other. Like, where is it? I want the girls slapping each other.
Yes, exactly. Like, I don't want an inundation of sex puns with Chase. I want fighting. Alora calls her a human fleshlight for having sex with Chase.
Oh my God.
Tiana Taylor deserves an Emmy for this scene in particular. This was such a funny choice to have her, like, be the peanut gallery behind them while they're fighting. So obviously Alora's like, you went to my stylist, you bitch. And Carr's like, well, my Chasey Poo loves it. And Milan's like, the nickname. And then, you know, to add insult to injury, Carr is like, I let him put it in any hole he wants, really taking a dig at the fact that she knows that, like, Alora is more vanilla in the bedroom and that Chase, you know, longed for something more interesting. And Alora's like, you're joining this firm over my fucking corpse. I really don't know why they're even considering her. Like, I get that it's a favor to Dina, but, like, at this point, Just say no. Carr's like, yeah, I really want to join your human centipede gobbling up each other's rancid kale farts all day. And then this kale fart
I was hoping this was
crazy.
here.
This
It was.
Oh, how could it not be? Tiana Taylor was so funny in this scene. So funny.
She's
I
so
loved
present. It. I love Tiana Taylor so much, and I would just be so funny if her awards campaign this season for One Battle After Another, then also like we get to go full circle with the Emmys. Like just to get like one guest star nomination would be chef's kiss.
She's so funny in this scene. Yeah, this whole scene was like chef's kiss perfection. Yeah. Thank you for redeeming yourself, Ryan Murphy, because I was really fucking angry at you, and I'm about to be angry at you again. And Emerald's like, listen, you're here for this interview, but, like, we're not convinced that you're a team player. And they ask her, like, why you want to be there. And Carr says, for closure. And she seems to be earnest in the moment. She says, Dina was my mentor, not yours, and so I'm trying to, like, get closure on this moment here. And Emerald's like, you're only here as a favor to Dina because, like, honestly, like, we all can't fucking stand you at this point. They head into mediation because the show has decided that we're going to go back to form of, like, having other people whose cases we're dealing with. Just for this one episode, just for fun. Is that a Birkin on the table? I haven't been doing my Birkin watch.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a Birkin.
Carr's like, I'm just observing and I'll assist if I need to. And by the way, like, the reason I'm wearing this is because I'm practicing for Halloween where I'll be dressing as a horror lawyer.
As a horror lawyer.
As a horror lawyer. So we get into the mediation, and it's a custody situation. Ex-husband is an assemblyman with some, like, very niche, weird conspiracy theory bullshit garbage, and the wife, like, doesn't really want her kids around it. So GRG is like, we suggest primary physical custody for our client. The husband then starts going after his wife and is like, well, what about all your, like, psychopharmaceutical prescriptions? And she's like, well, I only had to start taking them because you're insane and you were driving me nuts. And then Carr pipes up because this guy's about to leave the room because he's fighting with his ex. We knew this was coming. We knew what was going to happen is that, like, none of the women want Carr to join the firm, but then she, like, proves herself in this. This is, like, you know, the Air Bud moment. And she ends up turning it around through what GRG loves. Not the law, not legal prowess, blackmail and espionage. We do blackmail and espionage. We don't do law. And she asks him, do you believe aliens built the pyramids or that fluoride in the water supply is turning children trans? Because I have a transcript of an interview that you gave on a teeny tiny little radio station in rural Ghana that you probably thought nobody was ever going to hear, but I have it. And she goes on and is like, you think that there's, like, a secret chamber inside Mount Rushmore. You think Beyonce and Jay-Z. And then, of course, I had to take the screenshot for you. Fuck you really hard for this. My beloved Taylor Swift are part of the Illuminati. Crazy that Carr is a Swiftie.
Okay. No, but it makes sense. Here's why. Because then I immediately was like, okay, fascinating. Because I immediately then know, obviously, what is Carr's favorite album?
Reputation?
Yes! Good job. I've schooled you well. Yeah. Because it's like, that's so, like, if Kim wasn't on this show, I think we would have had a, like, look what you made me do needle drop for Carr. She aligns with Taylor because she's like, I feel misunderstood. I feel that no one has ever viewed me correctly, even though I've done all of this.
So anyway, Carr is going to town on this guy and is like, I've got that interview transcript and you can kiss your political ambitions goodbye. You're going to be made fun of ad nauseum in the press. Dina, again in red, pipes up from the corner to the girls in the middle of this mediation is like, told you she was going to score. And Carr leaves and is like, I'll be expecting your call because, you know, she thinks she did a really good job in there. I mean, according to GRG standards that we've seen before, yes, she did a really good job. But again, we're just doing blackmail. It's just blackmail.
And also, like, the other lawyer didn't say anything. It was just so strange. Like, no one said a word. It was, like, very bizarre. Like, well, okay, Carr made her case. All right, well, you'll be getting full custody.
It was super, super, super weird. We head back to Carr's house where she and Chase have decided to finally have a private sexual encounter in one of their homes. And she sets off the smoke alarm because she's trying to cook. And it turns out she's trying to make beef bourguignon with deli sliced roast beef, which sounds so disgusting. This really made me laugh because Chase said Julia Child is rolling over in her grave. He didn't know who Maya Angelou is, and I'm not saying that Maya Angelou and Julia Child are on the same level, but like, why does he know who Julia Child is?
Hear me out. I bet he's watched Julie and Julia on a plane.
Oh, yeah, I mean, everybody has watched that on a plane. That's fair. That's fair.
So I think it's a Julie and Julia, which is, again, another reference to Meryl Streep.
It is. Yeah. Chase is like, I came here to tell you that, like, we have to stop doing this. And she's like, you came here at 9:30 just to tell me in person we shouldn't be having sex. And he's like, I really actually need to focus on, like, curing my sex addiction. You were right. I need to figure out what my why is. But, like, I also need to stop having sex with you. And then because Carr is hurt, as we've said before, she decides to, like, metaphorically take the gloves off and stop being gentle with Chase and tells him he has watery cum.
Watery cum is like never a way I've heard that described before in my life.
I know, and it made me really nauseous considering we were just talking about like deli beef bourguignon.
I know.
It was so gross.
Watery cum? Who hurt these people?
It's not a roux. Like, I'm not...
You didn't mix flour and water to thicken it and cornstarch.
Okay, and then, of course, Carr calls Sebastian over to watch Devil Wears Prada, which is an excellent thing to do if you need elite way to comfort oneself. And, of course, her view of Devil Wears Prada is that Miranda Priestley is the hero.
I knew exactly what scene it was before they even mentioned it. I was like, oh, it's the cerulean scene. Where...
Yeah, the cerulean monologue. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
Oh, I see. You think that you just chose that sweater with your
From
Kohl's cash.
Bargain bin Kohl's cash. So Sebastian asked the question that we all want the answer to, that the women already asked, but we didn't really get a full answer. Why do you even want to join this firm? And she says, well, I gave them a sob story about second chances and closure and whatever, but it has been my life's work, my destiny, to get payback. And then she launches into her own version of the cerulean monologue.
I know.
I am going to go in like a Darth Vader cancer cell. What did I say? She's been dressed like Darth Vader this whole time. And we get these crazy, ever-increasing close-up shots. I'm going to, like, rip that firm apart piece by piece, sell it for scraps, and one at a time destroy them all. And Sebastian's like, girl, I get it, but, like, maybe you'll get some clarity and you'll reconsider. And she says, I won't. And that is how we end the episode. So yeah, this episode was wild. There was so much that happened in it. There was so much sex that like I did not consent to being a part of, and neither did Susan. Justice for Susan. But you know, shit's happening. There was some really satisfying, really funny, wild moments. This episode was more of like what we all started watching this show for. So I will give it that.
It definitely got me ready for like the next episode and to see like how this is all gonna allegedly tie up.
Yes, for sure.
In 50 minutes.
Thank you all for joining us. Please leave your comments and yaps and takes below. Find us on Instagram. Find us on TikTok. We love you all. Thank you for being here, and we will be back with the next episode. Bye!